Hey there, Inspiro fam. Today, we're diving into the roller coaster life of a Hollywood icon, Robert Downey Jr. From a child star to a man who hit rock bottom, only to rise again as the face of Iron Man. RDJ's journey is a raw, real story of struggle, redemption, and triumph. He battled addiction, faced jail time, and still came out on top, proving that no matter how far you fall, you can always get back up. So, let's jump into the incredible life of the man who became Tony Stark and showed the world what second chances are all about. Robert John Downey Jr. was born on April 4, 1965, in Manhattan, New York, into a family steeped in showbiz. His father, Robert Downey Sr., was an underground filmmaker, and his mother, Elsie Ann, was an actress. Growing up in Greenwich Village, young Robert was surrounded by creativity and chaos. His dad's experimental films often blurred the lines between art and reality, and drugs were a constant presence in their bohemian household. At just 6 years old, Robert tried marijuana when his father offered it to him, a moment he later called the first time I got high. It was the start of a troubled relationship with substances. Robert's talent shone early. At 5, he made his acting debut in his father's film Pound, 1970, playing a puppy. School wasn't his thing. He dropped out of Santa Monica High at 17 to pursue acting full-time, moving back to New York to chase roles. In 1983, he landed a spot on Saturday Night Live, but his stint was short-lived. He was fired after a year for lackluster sketches. Still, his charm and raw talent caught Hollywood's eye. In 1987, he starred in Less Than Zero, playing a drug-addicted rich kidder role that hit too close to home. Critics praised his performance, calling it hauntingly real, but off-screen, Robert's drug use was spiraling. By the late 1980s, Robert was a rising star, scoring roles in films like The Pickup Artist, 1987, and Chances Are, 1989. In 1992, he earned an Oscar nomination for Best Actor for his role as Charlie Chaplin in Chaplin, proving he could hold his own with the best. But fame came at a cost. His addiction to cocaine, heroin, and alcohol worsened, fueled by the pressures of Hollywood and his father's own struggles with drugs. "I was running from my demons, but they kept catching up," he later said. Robert was on a collision course, and the 1990s would test him like never before. The 1990s were a downward spiral for Robert Downey Jr. His talent was undeniable, but his addiction was destroying his life. In 1993, he starred in Shortcuts, earning praise, but off-screen, he was a mess. He'd show up to sets high, miss rehearsals, and alienate colleagues. His first marriage to actress Deborah Falconer, whom he wed in 1992, crumbled under the strain. They had a son, Indio, in 1993, but Robert's drug use drove a wedge between them. By 1994, Deborah left him, taking India with her. Robert was devastated, but he couldn't stop using. His behavior led to legal trouble. In 1996, he was arrested for drug possession after police found heroin, cocaine, and a loaded gun in his car on Sunset Boulevard. Just weeks later, while on parole, he wandered into a neighbor's house in Malibu, high, and passed out on a child's bed, leading to another arrest. The courts gave him probation and mandatory rehab, but Robert kept relapsing. In 1999, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison for violating parole. He served 15 months at the California Substance Abuse Treatment Facility, a low point that forced him to confront his demons. "I felt like he'd thrown away everything," he said. Released in 2000, Robert tried to rebuild. He joined the cast of Ally McBeal, winning a Golden Globe in 2001 for his role as Larry Paul. But the cycle of addiction continued. Months later, he was arrested again for drug possession, and producers fired him from the show. Hollywood started to write him off, with many believing he'd never recover. Robert hit rock bottom, homeless at one point, sleeping in cheap motels. Yet deep down, he knew he had to change, not just for himself, but for his son and his future. In 2003, Robert Downey Jr. decided enough was enough. At 38, he checked into rehab one last time, determined to get sober for good. "I was done. I couldn't keep living like that," he said. This time, something clicked. He embraced sobriety, leaning on therapy, meditation, and martial arts to rebuild his mind and body. A key turning point came when he met Susan Levin, a producer, on the set of Gothica, 2003. Susan saw past his troubled history, believing in the man he could become. They started dating, and in 2005 they married. Susan became his rock, helping him stay on track. Robert's career slowly revived. In 2003, he starred in The Singing Detective, a small but meaningful role that showed he still had talent. In 2005, he played a journalist in Good Night and Good Luck, earning critical praise. Then came Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, 2005, a dark comedy with Val Kilmer, which reminded Hollywood of his charisma. Directors started taking chances on him again, but Robert knew he needed a big break to reclaim his spot. That break came in 2007 when director Jon Favreau fought to cast him as Tony Stark in Iron Man. Marvel executives were hesitant RDJs. Past made him a risk, but Favreau insisted, saying, "He is Tony Stark." When Iron Man hit theaters in 2008, it was a game changer. Robert's portrayal of the billionaire genius with a troubled past resonated deeply, reflecting his own journey of redemption. The film grossed $585 million worldwide, launching the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, and making Robert a global superstar at 43. It clawed his way back from the brink, proving that second chances can lead to extraordinary comebacks. With Iron Man's success, Robert Downey Jr. became the face of the MCU, a role that would define his career. He returned as Tony Stark in Iron Man 2, 2010, which grossed $623 million, and The Avengers 2012, which made a staggering $1.5 billion, becoming one of the highest-grossing films ever at the time. Robert's wit, charm, and vulnerability brought depth to Tony Stark, a character who, like him, had to overcome his flaws to become a hero. Off-screen, he negotiated savvy deals, earning $50 million for The Avengers alone, making him one of Hollywood's highest-paid actors. Robert also took on other roles to show his range. In 2009, he starred as Sherlock Holmes in Guy Ritchie's Sherlock Holmes, earning a Golden Globe for his eccentric portrayal. The film made $524 million, and its sequel, Sherlock Holmes: A Game of Shadows, 2011, added another $545 million. But the MCU remained his cornerstone. He reprised Tony Stark in Iron Man 3, 2013, Avengers: Age of Ultron, 2015, and Captain America: Civil War, 2016. Each film a box office juggernaut. By 2018, his MCU earnings topped $200 million, a testament to his comeback. On a personal level, Robert was thriving. He and Susan welcomed 2 children, Exton in 2012 and Avery in 2014, and he rebuilt his relationship with Indio. Sobriety gave him a new perspective, and he became an advocate for addiction recovery, often speaking candidly about his journey. "I want to help others avoid the hell I went through," he said. Robert had turned his life around, but his greatest MCU moment and challenge was still ahead. RDJ's transformation into Iron Man is unreal. How inspiring is his comeback? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you're loving this journey, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Inspiro, and hit that bell for more. What's your favorite Iron Man moment? Let us know. Robert Downey Jr.'s journey as Tony Stark reached its emotional peak with Avengers: Infinity War, 2018, and Avengers: Endgame, 2019. Infinity War grossed $2 billion, setting the stage for Endgame, which became the second highest grossing film ever at $2.8 billion. In Endgame, Tony Stark's arc came full circle, his selfless sacrifice to defeat Thanos, snapping his fingers with the Infinity Gauntlet, left audiences in tears. Robert's line, "I am Iron Man," echoed his first MCU film, a perfect bookend to an 11-year journey. He earned $75 million for Endgame, plus back-end profits, totaling over $100 million for the film alone. The role earned him more than money, it gave him closure. Robert later said, "Playing Tony helped me heal. We both had to grow up." Fans and critics hailed his performance, with many calling for an Oscar nomination, though it never came. Saying goodbye to Tony Stark wasn't easy, but Robert knew it was time to move on. In 2020, he starred in Dolittle, a family film he also produced, but it flopped, earning $251 million against a $175 million budget and getting panned by critics. The failure stung, but Robert took it in stride, focusing on new ventures. He and Susan launched Team Downey, their production company, which produced projects like The Judge, 2014, and the Netflix series Sweet Tooth, 2021. Robert also became a vocal advocate for environmental causes, launching the Footprint Coalition in 2019 to combat climate change using tech. His personal life flourished. He was a devoted dad and husband, often sharing glimpses of his family on social media. Robert had come a long way from the chaos of his past, and he wasn't slowing down. In his 50s, Robert Downey Jr. continued to evolve as an actor and a person. In 2023, he starred in Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, playing Rear Admiral Louis Strauss. His performance as the calculating antagonist earned him universal acclaim, culminating in his first Oscar win for Best Supporting Actor in 2024. At the ceremony, he gave a heartfelt speech saying, "I needed this role as much as it needed me. This is for everyone who's ever been given a second chance." The win was a full circle moment, 32 years after his nomination for Chaplin. Robert also returned to the MCU in a new way. In 2024, Marvel announced he'd play Dr. Doom in Avengers: Secret Wars, set for 2027, a surprising twist that thrilled fans. "I like playing complicated guys," he said, teasing a darker role. Beyond acting, he explored new mediums. His 2022 memoir, Cool Food, shared his journey with sobriety and sustainability, and he hosted The Bond, a 2023 docuseries about human-animal connections. He also starred in The Sympathizer, 2024, an HBO series, earning praise for his versatility in multiple roles. Robert's influence grew outside of Hollywood. He became a mentor to younger actors, often advising MCU stars like Tom Holland, and a philanthropist, supporting causes like addiction recovery and children's hospitals. He remained grounded, crediting Susan for his stability. "She's my North Star," he said. By 2025, at 60 years old, Robert was a living testament to resilience, showing that reinvention is always possible. Robert Downey Jr.'s career spans over 5 decades, with more than 90 films and $14 billion in global box office earnings as of 2025. But his legacy isn't just in the number sits in the lives he's touched. Tony Stark became a cultural icon, inspiring fans to face their own battles with courage. His openness about addiction has helped destigmatize recovery, with many crediting his story for their own sobriety. "If I can come back from that, anyone can," he often says. His impact on the MCU is immeasurable. Iron Man launched a franchise that reshaped Hollywood, and Robert's portrayal set the tone for a generation of superhero films. Beyond Marvel, his roles in Sherlock Holmes, Chaplin, and Oppenheimer showcased his range, proving he's more than a blockbuster star. In 2025, he continues to work, with projects like The Sympathizer Season 2 in development and anticipation building for his Dr. Doom role. He's also a devoted family man, cherishing time with Susan, Indio, Exton, and Avery. Robert's journey resonates because it's so human. He fell hard, but he got back up harder, showing the world that redemption is possible. His story isn't just about fame, it's about fighting for a better version of yourself, no matter the odds. Today, in 2025, Robert Downey Jr. remains a Hollywood titan, but his greatest achievement is the hope he's given others. Fans flock to conventions to hear him speak, often tearfully thanking him for inspiring them through tough times. His philanthropy continues through the Footprint Coalition and Random Act funding. He supports innovation and kindness, from clean energy projects to helping fans in need. In 2024, he donated $1 million to addiction recovery programs, a cause close to his heart. Robert's influence spans generations. Young actors look up to him as a trailblazer, and his peers admire his comeback. "He's a phoenix," said Jon Favreau. "He rose from the ashes and soared." As he prepares for Avengers: Secret Wars, fans are eager to see him take on Dr. Doom, a role that promises to add another layer to his legacy. At 60, Robert shows no signs of slowing down, balancing blockbuster roles with passion projects that reflect his values. Robert Downey Jr.'s story is a masterclass in resilience. From a troubled kid in Greenwich Village to a global icon, he's proven that you can rewrite your story, no matter how dark the chapters get. His journey reminds us that the greatest battles are the ones we fight within, and that redemption is always within reach. Robert Downey Jr.'s journey from rock bottom to redemption is pure inspiration. What's your biggest takeaway? Share it in the comments below. If this story moved you, give it a huge thumbs up, subscribe to Inspiro, and hit that bell for more epic tales. Who's your favorite comeback hero? Let us know, we might cover them next.